to make an all-time Italian-American favorite. It's an eggplant parmesan that's going to be in a casserole form. It's economical, it's versatile, it's delicious in many forms. On this island here, I have what we're going to be using last, which is our sauces and our cheese. And over on the stove, I'm going to show you my breading station, so come on over. What I did was I've got one eggplant that I've chopped up here, as you can see. Took my eggplant, I cut it in half, and then I just sliced up about 1-inch thick pieces here that you can see. This is a gluten-free recipe here. We're going to need some brown rice flour, white rice flour, whatever you want to use that's gluten-free. And we'll go with a cup to start. We might need more, you never know. So we'll keep it right here with us. We have 3 eggs we'll be using. And lastly, I have some onions here, which has nothing to do with our breading station, but it does have to do with our sauce. I want to use my pan over here that I have going on that we're going to also use to fry up our eggplant. So I'm going to throw that in first and take it out, throw it in my tomato sauce, and then we'll be back to start breading up our eggplant. Okay, we're going to add in some olive oil. And it goes. This pan's been heating up a little. That's about a tablespoon of olive oil. Pop those guys in. Okay, we're checking on it. There's our sauce we'll be using for our eggplant parmesan. It's a spaghetti sauce, homemade. There's about 4 or 5 cups there we're going to be using. There's a tablespoon and a half of garlic here that I'm going to toss into our spaghetti sauce here in a minute. Block of cheese. This is a mozzarella cheese, and it's 8 ounces, and I'm going to shred that up real quick. And also I have some grated Parmesan cheese here that we're going to be using to top it off with. Start shredding our cheese. You can also use regular shredded cheese. You don't have to use the block style. I like using the block cheese because it doesn't have the nadomycin in it. And if you're not familiar with nadomycin, that is an antibiotic that you really don't want in your food. It's one of those things that's linked to one of the reasons why people are taking antibiotics and they're not working, because they're already consuming them in their food, which really is not an ordinary thing that you should be doing. Okay, that looks good. We have everything shredded up there. 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. Alright, now we're going to go on back over to our skillet here. Check on our sauteing onions. These smell really good. There we go. Oh, the skillet is really heavy. Ugh, this will work out in itself. There we go. Okay, we're heading back to our breading station. Our skillet is, of course, very hot. We're going to need some more olive oil here because we've used that all up with our onions. So in goes some olive oil, a couple tablespoons to start us with. Goes our flour into the back bowl here. Pop in our eggs. Make sure we don't get any shells in there. I'm just going to take a fork and whisk these up a little bit. If you're wearing rings at this time, you might want to take them off. You don't usually want to have rings on when you're breading. Salt. I almost forgot about our salt because it's just a given that I have to have salt in everything, especially sea salt. And take an eggplant, dip it down into our egg, bring it up, come on over to our breading, spin it around, get it all breaded up there. See there? Come on over to our skillet, and in it goes. We'll just continue with this method until we're all done. In the egg. Flip it over, and when you're doing this, you just want to watch that you don't make a total disaster. It shouldn't really go that bad for you, though. Pay attention to what you're doing. We're on our second round of breading up our eggplant. That means that we've already browned up 1 pan of it, and those are right here. Those look good. There. So it looks like there's a few missing, which there are. We tried out a few of them just to see if they were ready to go, and that they were cooked and delicious, and yes, they were. So here, a couple tablespoons. So I'd say for this recipe, we use a few little open areas. We'll start adding our yummy eggplant right into our sauce dish we have ready to go here. I just add these single layer, however you can get them on there. There you go. Single layers there. Believe it or not, my 14-year-old loves squash. I think that squash tastes similar to eggplant, so we're doing good here in that department. He'll eat these. Okay, that looks pretty good. Push another one down in there. Now we're going to add on our mozzarella cheese, and we're going to brace for our next layer of our spaghetti sauce. And if you remember, in the spaghetti sauce we are using, I have a pile of onions that I browned up. My son loves onions, and we all love onions, and they're very good for you. We're adding onions to this recipe just like most of all the other ones that I make. Now we're just going to spoon in our spaghetti sauce right on top of there. And it goes. It's covered. And a little bit of Parmesan cheese, a tablespoon. We're really giving it the works here. Okay. Alright, the time has come. We're going to start taking all these guys out, plating them up over here onto a plate. And before, alright, this is working better. Take our way back to the island. Add on our second layer. Watch you don't burn yourself. They're really hot. I don't really notice hot stuff too much, so I can just touch those and get them right on, but you might need to use a fork or give it a few minutes so they cool off. And there's our second layer. Keep our crunchies for the top. Those are our cheese. Then layer. It's time for our sauce. And goes our second layer of sauce. And there we have it. In the oven it goes. We're going to bake this eggplant Parmesan casserole at 350 for a half hour. I'll see you back then. Okay, here we have it. Our eggplant Parmesan casserole is probably ready to go. I must admit, I normally follow rules and regulations, but when it comes to creating and when it comes to cooking and all that kind of stuff, I usually make my own rules, and for this one, I did the same thing. I'm really starving. I don't think it's really going to take a half hour to heat this up, because all you're doing is heating everything through. Everything's already cooked, so here we go. Wow, that looks really good. Wow, look at that. I can hear it sizzling. I add a little bit more Parmesan cheese on. Just make it look pretty. Okay, and there you have it, eggplant Parmesan. I hope you'll make this recipe because I'm sure you're going to love it. Okay, we're going to plate this up and try it out. A little bite here. It's all gooey and ooey. Oh. There we have it, a little bite to try out. Wow, this tastes really good. It's wrapped around. It's almost like eating dessert. I need a napkin. Alright, one napkin coming up. There we go. Well, as you can tell, this is really good. It's very tasty. It's very light. I know if you make this, you're going to love it. Serve it up with a salad if you need to. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you.